Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation. I'm glad you're here. Today, we're diving into a crucial topic with a slide titled, The Brutal Truth. Her past is her present. We'll explore how a woman's past experiences shape her current behavior and how understanding this can transform the way we approach relationships. Over the next few slides, we'll uncover the realities often overlooked and discuss what men really need to know to navigate modern relationships successfully. So let's get started. Let's explore the science behind pair bonding. Now, pair bonding is more than just a poetic idea. It's actually rooted in biology and chemistry. It's about forming deep connections, trusting someone, and staying loyal over time. But just like any biological mechanism, it can weaken or wear down if not maintained. Research from the Institute for Family Studies has shown some interesting findings. For example, women who have more sexual partners before marriage are more likely to experience divorce. Specifically, women with 10 or more partners face over 80% higher divorce rates compared to those with just one partner. So, why does this happen? It comes down to oxytocin, the so-called bonding hormone released during sex. When we're repeatedly forming attachments and breaking up, that oxytocin release doesn't work the same way each time. Think of it like tape. The first time you use it, it sticks really well. But if you rip it off and reapply it multiple times, the adhesive weakens. The same idea applies to our brain's bonding mechanisms. They can become less effective over time with repeated breakups and new attachments. This helps us understand why maintaining strong, consistent bonds is so important, not just emotionally, but biologically as well. Let's talk about dopamine and the addiction to novelty. It's not just about oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Dopamine also plays a huge role in how we seek pleasure and new experiences. When a woman encounters a new partner, her brain releases a chemical rush, an instant boost of excitement and attraction. But here's the thing. Just like with any drug, over time, her tolerance builds up. That initial thrill starts to fade. What happens next is really interesting. Stability and long-term commitment, things that are usually seen as positive, start to feel dull or even boring. The stability that once felt comforting now seems lackluster compared to the chaos and excitement of new encounters. It's as if her brain has been conditioned to crave that rush, that sense of mystery and unpredictability. Many women, often unconsciously, begin seeking drama or intense situations, not because they actually want instability, but because their neurochemistry has been trained to desire that constant novelty. So, understanding this connection helps explain why some women might be drawn to the mystery man or unpredictable situations, even when they know deep down that stability might be healthier. It's all about how our brains are wired for pleasure and how that influences our relational behaviors. When we talk about the ghosts of her past, we're really referring to the emotional baggage and memories she carries with her from previous relationships. These memories act as benchmarks, whether she admits it or not, and they influence how she perceives current relationships. For example, if an ex made more money, she might subtly compare your ambition or success, often without even realizing she's doing it. That can lead to tension or misunderstandings. Or if a past lover was more adventurous in the bedroom, suddenly your intimacy might feel lackluster, even if that's not your intention. It's like her past experiences set a standard that's hard to meet. And if she dated someone with narcissistic tendencies, your confidence might be misinterpreted or judged as controlling, even when you're just being yourself. What's important to realize is that we inherit these ghosts, these unresolved issues and traumas from our partners. When these wounds aren't addressed, they can build up like layers of debt. And just like financial debt, eventually, the interest must be paid. So, in the end, we often find ourselves paying for wounds we never caused ourselves, simply because we're carrying the emotional baggage of her past. And understanding this helps us see how unresolved trauma can impact our present relationships. Psychology calls it projection, but men often just see it as a nightmare. What does that mean? Well, psychologists describe projection as a process where we unconsciously overlay our old wounds onto new partners. It's like carrying baggage from past experiences into current relationships, often without even realizing it. And honestly, it can feel like walking through a minefield. Every small thing can set off a reaction. For example, if she's been cheated on before, you might find yourself being interrogated over harmless texts, as if you're suspect. If she's been used for sex, your desire might seem selfish or wrong in her eyes. And if she craves chaos because of her past, your attempt at stability might just come across as dull or boring to her. The key point here is that her history doesn't just disappear when she meets you. It arrives with her, and sometimes it's projected onto your actions or words. This is why understanding projection is so important. It helps us see that what we're reacting to isn't just the present moment, but also old wounds. Recognizing this can be a crucial step in breaking the cycle and building healthier, more understanding relationships. Let's talk about a common misconception. Society often tries to shame men for caring about a woman's sexual past, suggesting that only insecure men do so. People say things like love conquers all or a woman's value isn't in her history. But here's the thing, body count isn't really about morality. It's about psychology and probability. Research published in the Journal of Sex Research shows that women with higher partner counts tend to report lower relationship satisfaction and are more likely to experience infidelity. This isn't about judging morality, it's about understanding patterns. And these patterns are rooted in biology. The more times someone bonds and then detaches, the less effective their attachment system becomes. It's not because they're inherently bad. Biology simply doesn't reset just because we tell ourselves slogans. So when we look at the data, it becomes clear. These patterns matter for outcomes, for stability, for satisfaction. It's about understanding the real impact on relationships, not moral judgments. Let's talk about the hidden costs for men that often go unnoticed. Ignoring a woman's past doesn't just risk heartbreak, it can also threaten your money, your mental health, and your life's mission. Starting with the financial side, divorce can be incredibly devastating. In the West, women initiate nearly 70% of divorces, and courts don't really care about who's at fault. They focus on payouts, things like alimony, child support, and dividing assets. And one wrong decision can set you back decades in your work and financial stability. Now, on the mental side, when things go wrong, you may find yourself becoming her therapist, her emotional crutch, and even her scapegoat. Trying to fix wounds that aren't yours to heal can slowly wear you down, breaking your spirit and your well-being. And finally, the mission cost. Men thrive on having a purpose, on living a life with direction. But when you get caught up in her chaos, you often abandon your goals and end up living inside her past. A man without a mission isn't truly a man. He becomes more of a passenger in his own life. So, understanding these hidden costs is crucial because it ties directly into the overall theme, protecting your future, your peace, and your purpose by not ignoring the past that can threaten all three. So, why do so many men walk into these situations blind, even when the signs seem pretty clear? Well, there are three main reasons that often hold men back from seeing what's really happening. First is hope. Men tend to believe they'll be the exception, that somehow this time will be different. They might think, she's never had a man like me, and that hope keeps them from recognizing the warning signs. Next is guilt. Society can be pretty harsh on men when they notice certain patterns. There's this shame about paying attention to things that might be seen as protective or cautious. They might feel guilty for even noticing or questioning what's going on. And finally, shame plays a huge role. If a man chooses to walk away, he's often branded as controlling, insecure, or outdated. That shame makes it even harder to trust his instincts or to act on what he's sensing. So what do we end up with? Hope that blinds us, guilt that silences us, and shame that traps us. It's a powerful mix that keeps many men stuck in the dark, even when the signs are right in front of them. Recognizing these reasons is a key step in moving toward clarity and healthier choices. All right, let's talk about what men must do to stay true to themselves and build a solid foundation. First, choose wisely. Valuing stability, loyalty, and purity doesn't mean you're insecure. In fact, setting high standards helps protect your future. It's about knowing what you want and not settling for less. Next, walk with purpose. When you're clear on your mission, you don't get sidetracked by distractions or women who are lost in their own paths. Focus on building yourself, your body, your mind, and your empire. Having that sense of purpose keeps you grounded and moving forward. And finally, refuse to carry what isn't yours. Her trauma isn't your burden to bear, and her past isn't a cross you need to carry. Sometimes, the bravest move isn't to fight or fix everything. Sometimes, it's knowing when to walk away before the damage becomes permanent. All of these points tie back to the core theme of building strength, integrity, and clarity in who you are and where you're headed. So here's the final piece I want to leave you with. A woman's past, it doesn't just vanish or get erased. It's not something you can just close the book on and forget. Instead, it's more like a preview of what's to come. That history shapes her, influences her, and informs her future. If her past is filled with broken bonds, chaos, and unresolved trauma, then betting your life on the idea that she's magically going to be different, that she's going to be the exception, is really just a form of denial. It's not love, it's ignoring reality. And I want to emphasize, this isn't about bitterness or hate. It's about survival, about recognizing what's real so you can protect yourself and make informed choices. Because in a world that often wants men to be blind to these truths, choosing to see clearly and accept the reality is actually one of the most rebellious and courageous acts you can take. So remember, understanding the past isn't about judgment. It's about honesty, and that honesty is what truly sets us free.